magical can.
My magical can. My magical can.
My magical can.
Welcome back to Oral GIBBS Live, coming to you live here from World Star Studios at Amsterdam Shopping Center. And I'm here speaking with MP Daniel GIBBS. I know you're watching your monitor, but and the thing is, when you look at French Saint Martin, a lot of people tell me it's like it's so dead. There's very little business activity.
Mm-hmm.
And I can recall during the campaigning,
Mm-hmm.
that project you had, what $500 million it was, 400 or 500 million?
In French, un milliard, in English, 1 billion.
1 billion. It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
It would bring a lot of activity to the French side.
Yeah.
Is it dead? Is it completely gone? Or are you still looking to revive it?
Well, I will be very honest with you. You need economical development. My honest purpose, and I don't want us to talk about project in terms of how much it costs, because the Dutch side have proven it, and the other islands also, that are improving in their economical development. It's not what the project costs that is important. It is the feasibility of that project. If it's a feasible project, no matter how much it costs, you will have investors that will come to bid to it. That's a fact. I never saw something that you present that doesn't function, or that do function where nobody comes in it. I mean, so that's very clear. So as far as that's concerned, I still believe, and I will continue believing, that in order to have a proper economical development, you need to be able to force of proposition of projects. The waterfront project was one. There were various other projects that we had in store for Saint Martin, but everything at a time. One would bring the other one. It was not the size of the project that was important either, because it was not a project that couldn't be done in one shot. It was supposed to be done in phase, but there was a way, and there is still a way of doing a phase. So when you ask me if I'm still in phase of that project, of course, because I still believe, like yesterday, I still believe today, that we need to do that project, but we need to do it in an intelligent way. There are different phases that we have to go through. There's a way of, I would say, putting in place certain amount of infrastructure first, and it was said that we would do that in a period of 10 years. We considered a period of 10 years to be able to finish total construction by filling in to the last construction. And I would expect that the 2 or 3 first year would be the putting in place of the filling of dredging and filling of that waterfront. There was 20, in French we say 21 hectares of filling in. And after, the first infrastructure that would be putting in place would have been a cruise line terminal and reception for the various, I would say, transit for anglers and boats, the operating for that kind of services. And then, of course, immediately after, all the hotel and boutiques, restaurants, whatever was in phase with that development. Well, I mean, I can talk for hours on that development, but today, as I see the majority functioning, I realize in last Island Council, or the one before, that yes, they spoke about putting in place the cruise line terminal, start the work of the cruise line terminal. So at least that's, if they go to the extent of doing what they are saying, at least that's what I was preaching, so I cannot go against that. Now, will it be done for the right reasons, in the right manner? That's another question.
Okay, I'll be taking a call to 5422170, 5422170. You have a question or comment for MP Daniel Gibbs here taking your call. I've heard some people say like, wow, they're sorry that they didn't elect you to run the French side because in hindsight, they're looking back and things haven't turned out that good at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, as I say, all things are done for a reason, and you don't blame a contrariety, contrariety. It is fine. I mean, people also ask me, oh, but you were not deceived that you lost the election. It's like, I mean, the people choose. They had their choice. So I have to go with their choice. All I have to do today, and that's what we did, and that's what a union democracy is for. We try to work with the actual government. Now, what I can say of my experience today, if that is part of the question, is that I'm totally satisfied with my situation today because it made me, by sitting in Parliament, taking another step in the experience of politics. It gives me the knowledge of how you do politics on a national field. It gives me the experience of a parliamentarian functioning for his territory in France. It gives me, some strength that I didn't have before. It gives me that part of the experience probably that most of our politicians is lacking today because they have a local knowledge of how things function. So somewhere, maybe, as they say, it was a bad for good.
So, but now, now that you're in Parliament, when it comes to senators, do they have to work with you as a parliamentarian from St. Martin, or?
Well, the best way to go about it is to work together.
Mm.
And as I said, once elected, we are here to work for St. Martin. So no matter our differences, our grievances for one another, it was important that we show one face, whether we're sitting in Parliament or whether we're sitting in the Senate. And again, I had absolutely no problem working with Mr. Louis Constant Fleming when he was still senator. As far as that's concerned, we sat down together and we said, okay, now election and politics is over. Shall we work together? And I guess we proved it by functioning on a couple of laws, and that was something positive for St. Martin. I would expect that the collectivity of St. Martin would be more in phase with working with their deputy, in the sense that, instead of coming themselves to defend certain things or to talk about certain things, they would use a little bit more their deputy. I mean, there are certain questions, that are not conflictual. So we could have worked on those questions together. There are others maybe where each of us had our point of views, but at the end of the day, I will be defending the interests of St. Martin in Parliament. So
they don't come to you or nothing?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I was more in the inviting or coming towards than the contrary. So on what was asked, maybe one time, it was asked to me to defend a point, which I did, of course, but I was in demand of that kind of relationship. I must admit that throughout the years with the presidency of Richardson, things were a lot more difficult than it is today. But as I said, there's so much more to be done, and there's so much things that we can do for St. Martin and put our grievances aside, that what we're seeing today is maybe the result of that lack of cooperation.
I want to come
things cannot always come only in one direction.
I want to come to French and Dutch side, because I always speak about this. I hear so much lip service every November 11, and it seems like this island, French and Dutch side, like we're going to separate ways, and I don't think that's the right thing for.
Again, Oral, I've been preaching for real cooperation. I've been given a name for a certain amount of time or a certain while of a non-cooperative guy, but I think people, as much as they understood in the last election today who is the real Daniel Gibbs, Others are realizing today the dimension of cooperation when I talk about cooperation. I always say if you really want to talk in terms of cooperation, you need to put the tools for that. And it's not complicated. Some people told me, oh yeah, but that's going to take an age before French side and Dutch side has their own, I would say, parliament of cooperation. But that's not the point. The point is wanting to put the two executives together and to take a deliberation in what we can call a Congress of cooperation between French and Dutch. And you don't need a building for that. 1 year it takes part in the French Council, and the other year it takes part in the Dutch Parliament. And each year there's a president, either the Prime Minister, either the president of the French collectivité, and only the executive body of each side will be sitting in that
Will the
Congress.
French government allow something like that?
Of course, it's, you know, again, it's what both sides really want. But again, you need to want it. Then you can impose it. My place, and I guess the parliamentarian of the Dutch side, the MP of the Dutch side, is there also for that, to relate that strong voice to our parliament and say, listen, we want to cooperate in this direction. We want to be able to elaborate deliberations that if another government comes in, they have to follow the decision that we have taken. I have said that from all the years past, we have been taking decisions. We have been signing MOUs. We have been changing commerce, changing points, changing words, but changing dates, signing documents, but yet no effective cooperation is seeing the day on something specific. One of the points that is the most important is tourism for us, for both sides. Where's the cooperation? Where's the united, I would say, force that is preaching for one? After that, if we fight, each one of us, for our own, I would say, vision of tourism is a point, is one thing. But fighting over there to bring the tourists here can be a common goal. And I think that's one of the first points in which we can cooperate on. Then the second point is maybe the sewage situation, maybe the road net situation, the garbage situation. I mean, I heard her talking about a lot of points in the past, and again, yet nothing has been put in place, nothing has been concretely done. And if we don't take those decisions through deliberation, this is very precise, through a deliberation that needs to be accepted by both French and Dutch, whether it is local or whether it is
But let me
national.
ask you this, because you're a member of parliament, you are also a member of the territorial council. If this side, the Dutch side, don't want to make the first move, who on the French side should make the first move? Should it come from the territorial council, or how is this going to?
I respect the position of each one. I say, if on the French side they are ready for that move, then they need to show it up front. If the Dutch side is ready for that move, they need to show it also up front.
Do you think anybody?
You cannot do something if the other one doesn't want to do it.
So nobody's ready then?
I can talk only of what I'm seeing. And what you're saying is that today, and what I'm saying is nothing is happening. We are having meetings. I'm hearing about meetings. I'm hearing about agreements in this direction, agreements on a state level, agreements on certain details, but nothing concrete in action is going forward. What are we doing in terms of immigration? Problem that we are suffering. All politicians are afraid to talk about this issue. But what are we concretely doing? How are we protecting our territory? What do we really want in terms of immigration policy? Because this is an issue that we need to tackle today, and very quickly. What are the measures that we want to take today in our economical and tourism development? Because this is what we are living of. What do we do as one island to be able to, because I heard Albert Fleming saying that we have a very ticklish situation as far as our economy is concerned.
We tie it together.
He even used another word, it's a fragile economy. I mean, it's so fragile that when, and they used to say this in a time, when the states sneeze, we catch a cold. And today, what are we doing to protect ourselves from that cold? What is the common vision that we can have? We all talk about our cruise lines, our airlift, that we want to upgrade, bring more flights. But what is the vision at the end of the day? is bring in people, bring in tourism in St. Martin. But what are we doing to keep that in a safe relation? At least that. After the Dutch side have its own way of seeing their economical way of functioning, and the French side has its own way. Fine. But where do we have a concrete document? Where do we have a concrete policy to say whether it's the Dutch government that will change, whether it's the French government that will change? What is giving us that guarantee that the measures, that the decisions that we're taking for both islands is sealed in a common document? What is being done today
You know,
for that? These are the things that we need to question ourselves. And I'm being critic for all of us, not only pointing to one side. I'm critic for all of us. We need to ask ourselves the real questions, and then we can find the answers. So if we want to really cooperate, we need to answer those questions.
You know, the thing is that when you look at St. Martin, it looks like people on this side, the Dutch side, really don't have an understanding or care what happened on the French side. But the politicians and the politics and the reality of this island is that we're one island, although we're French and Dutch, and many of us have family on both sides. And I think it's really shameful that here you have a small island like this, and up to today, we don't have any serious cooperation going back to the days of Claude and Dr. Petty with a complete different situation.
Absolutely. And I would say this thing also, you cannot, and this is what I'm seeing if we go in the past, whenever you had one side that was higher than the other one, things was not good. Every time it was balanced, things was booming. That's a fact. Why? Because if you have one side that is really late on its development, then the other side suffer of those consequences. Let's take, for example, insecurity, crime, criminality. Do you think that when one side is shining, everything is looking like gold and everything is sparkling, the other side, everything is doing great, dark, high crime? Do you think it's going to stop on that side? Or is it going to go look on the other side for the originates? You see, these are the things that we need to understand. When a tourist come on this island and gets attacked severely, and we have seen it in the past, the internet today is such a danger. As much as it's something that is benefit, it's such a danger because automatically it spreads the word to everyone and it blocks tourism for a certain time. When you give out the good word, it takes a time to spread. When you give out the bad word, the bad experience, it takes seconds to spread out. This is what I'm saying. So one does not benefit when the other one is down. So we need also to check the balance and the way we develop ourselves. We shouldn't be too greedy and want the whole cake for ourselves. We need to be able to share that cake. And when I talk again in terms of cooperation, I'm saying let us do development in an intelligent way. We are part of a region, the Caribbean region. We need also to remember that other islands are not waiting on us or laughing of us, having our competition, trying to pull the other one, but they, at the same time, are putting in place their economy, are putting in place their infrastructure in order to compete with us. Whereas we need to be able, with two different visions, one French, one Dutch, which is beautiful, which we always use as a luxury. And I still believe today it's the case. But we need to use that on both sides, on both as a both benefit for us. But we need to develop our infrastructure as much as the Dutch side need to continue and maintain their development. But we need to share the ideas as far as that development is concerned. You cannot think today that you're going to build new roads on the French side without taking in considerations the roads on the Dutch side. You cannot think today that you're developing a sewage system without thinking that tomorrow you will have to cooperate with the Dutch side on that part. And the contrary is also the same. Everything that is big investment as far as public infrastructure is concerned, we need to work these things together. And that's why I'm pledging, Oral, I know for you this year is a political year. I know you have great politicians that have great idea of development, and that's perfect because I love a world of competition because competition is good wealth. Competition means that you will upgrade your product. Competition means that you will try and foreseen in front, in advance of your competitors, and that's good because that motivates everyone. But we need also to take the time and look at your neighbor and say that we also need to do certain things together so that we can even attract more. I always applaud when we talk about the move that was done on that side concerning their cruise line terminal. I remember the ship France coming in town and we taking the tender to go and look at a movie on that cruise ship. I remember that time. Today, you have the biggest ships coming on that side. I mean, we are gift that we have that because our economy today is sustained on that type of tourism. I applaud also when I see the airport development because we can bring aircraft in conditions that were not what it was yesterday. We can bring aircraft from Europe. We can bring aircraft from the States. We can bring aircraft from any part of the world today, and we don't have to be ashamed of any airport in this region, but even, I would even say worldwide, compared to our size. Yeah. I applaud also when I see a bridge of the dimension of the you call it the causeway. The causeway. Yeah, because I would say for us it's perfect. We go to the airport in no time. I mean, all these things okay, but on the other hand, what is happening? What are we seeing? What are we doing? You see, today you need to emphasize on when you take all those decisions today, you need to have the master plan of the island, in the sense that you need also to say, okay, we took the bet of developing a certain economy. We on the other side can take the bet of developing another type of economy, based more, for example, than on cruise line, based more on airlift clientele. This is what was St. Martin before.
Yeah. I have to go to a break. So let me get that break.
You challenged me on a subject that I can talk for hours.
I know, but we don't have that much time. I'm going to go to a break. We're going to come right back. Right back, please. Stay with us.
Whatever your dreams are, with personal loans and mortgages can finance your wishes. We offer loans for mortgages, home remodeling, home appliances, vehicles, generators, hurricane shutters, weddings, education, and much more. Visit your preferred branch or with personal loans and mortgages located at Prime Plaza Bush Road or call 542-2313. The Winter Islands Bank Limited, your partner in progress.
In case you've just joined us, you're watching Oral Gibbs Live. My guest this evening is none other than MP Mr. Daniel Gibbs. He's a member of the French Parliament, and also he represents St. Martin and St. Bart's in the French Parliament, and he's also territorial councillor for St. Martin. You know, when you look at all the things, and I heard what you're saying, there was a time when the French side was doing better than us.
Yes.
Remember that those days when the people brought in their money, invested here.
Yes, the fiscalization
right.
plan. Yeah.
That ended.
Yeah.
And now we're going through another phase now where this side looks like it's booming. But I think soon it's going to go back to the other side again.
But this is the point. It is not to have another side, another term with one side higher than the other one. It is good to have a complementary product. It is good to see that when a tourist lands on this island, whether he go French or Dutch, he will have a different experience. We want him to have a nice experience. Oh, it's fine if he says, I prefer the French side, or I prefer the Dutch side. What is important is that we have enough here to attract any tourists of any kind of countries, that when they come here, they get the experience, the double experience. I would even say the triple experience. I could even say the quadruple experience, because when you come to St. Martin, not only you have St. Martin French side and Dutch side, you have Anguilla and you have St. Barth. You even have Sabre, not far. I mean, you have to take this in a package. You take the boat, you go snorkeling to Sabre. You take the boat or the plane, you go to St. Bart's. You take the boat or the plane, you go to Anguilla. Those are different experiences. You stay on St. Martin, you have French St. Martin and Dutch St. Martin.
I'm smiling.
But if you don't have all those products that are ready to capture that clientele, I mean,
I know we don't have much time, but I'm smiling when you're saying that because look at Air France and KLM, right?
of course. You mean we need to join the same way?
Why can't we? They can do it.
Listen, I even said at the time, they called me a crazy man when I said that we were European before Europe. St. Martin was living as Europe is living today with more countries. We were 2 countries. We were European already. And why many countries come together and try to do a common policy, and we, as just 2 different countries, cannot do one common policy. Let's think about that.
Wow. I tell you what, we other time got to go, but it's my dream. I really like to see it.
I'm sure it can. A little bit of will and a little bit of willing, I would say. Things can go through. I'm sure. I still keep faith. I do hope that someday we'll get to that point.
Well, I want to thank you again for dropping by on your break from Parliament. Hope we can have you back sometime soon again.
As much as you ask me here, I'll be here. I said it before. I'll do it again.
I'd like to get maybe you and one of the MPs from this side. That would be nice.
With pleasure. I have absolutely no problem with that. They're all my friends.
What about Theo? You won't mind having Theo with you one?
Of course, I'd love to have Theo here. You know, I mean, people say a lot of things, and you know, life is you know, you need to be able to put aside your political vision, your professional functioning, and your human relation. And I get to superior all 3. And Theo was someone that I got along with in the past. Is someone that I still get along good with when we meet. And we share a certain way of doing things, and we don't share a certain way of doing things. And this is about life. You cannot always have everyone thinking in the same direction for the same things, and that is normal, and you need to be able to accept that.
Let's see if we can get it to you sometime. Whether you have a busy schedule, but we try that, okay?
If I have to take the plane to come back, I'll come back.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, take care. That's it for now. See you next time. Till then, good night. Take care. Bye.